Oh, how you doing there? Didn't see you. I know why you're here this week. You're here for Nathan Payne's wholesaling story time, Tales from the Trenches. And we got another doozy for you this week, everybody. Now, if you haven't been watching this series of me telling you how I got started in wholesaling with zero knowledge of wholesaling or real estate, didn't have any money, started with $0 in my pocket, and I've done hundreds of deals, over 2 million in wholesale fees. And I'm giving you the real, the raw. I'm giving you everything about it because a lot of the stuff on social media is fake. And I'm telling you exactly my journey from start to finish. We'll start to where it is right now of how it is to start a wholesaling company. So you can see the ups and the downs. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of ups, there's a lot of downs. So today we're going to be talking about how I broke a partnership agreement in my first 6 months of wholesaling. And it didn't end pretty. Unfortunately, the partner that we had broken up with no longer still doesn't want to talk to us. I reached out, and I'm not going to say his name. We're not here to poo poo on anybody, but I reached out maybe a year ago to say, hey man, I hope you're doing good. And he, no response, doesn't want to talk to me this very day. I thought I handled the partnership breakup pretty well, but you decide, because you're going to see exactly how we did it. I'm going to explain the whole thing. And as you saw me reading earlier, this is the journal. I've been keeping a journal. I love journaling. I've been keeping a journal of my journey as a real estate investor since I started in 2018. I got 5 or 6 of these, and I document how the journey's going because I think it's important. So now I'm able to tell you guys this story so you can see for yourself. So wherever you're watching, tell me where you're watching from. It's important to me because I like to connect with the people that I talk to. So, type in, like this video if you're watching it live, because it helps the algorithm get it to more people. And let me just drink a little bit because I do get parched on these stories because I get a dry mouth. But this one won't take very long. It's pretty straight to the point. But if in these stories that I tell, I also, every story I have a gift. I have a resource I want to give you. This gift that I'm going to be giving, all you have to do is go to painlessflipping.com, and every week you get a story with a resource that's free. What I'm giving away with this is a free way to do a free site where you can go and get a personality test, because this is extremely important, everybody, that if you end up partnering with someone, you got to make sure that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. You got to make sure that in a partnership, 1 + 1 equals 20, equals 100. Because if you do 1 + 1 equals 2, it's not really going to be an effective partnership. So that is what I'm going to be giving you. Subscribe to at painlessflipping.com for the story time, and we'll be sending you free resources. We give away calculators, all the resources I have in my drive. I put them in stories like this so you guys can see how I use them, and they're all there for you for free. So without further ado, let's dive into the story of how we broke up with the broker and how it did not end well. Ended well on our part, but he doesn't like us anymore apparently, or it just didn't end well. All right, let's just say that. So let's get into it. So if you haven't been aware of where my journey's been, I'll kind of catch you up. So we started $0, knowing nothing about real estate. We were just calling for sell by owners, and it wasn't working out. We made a post on Facebook, and we ended up connecting with a broker here in Utah that was like, hey, I had a dream about wholesaling. I was wholesaling deals in Missouri, and my business partner at the time, Corey, me and him, his dad was from Missouri. So we were like, oh, wow, you had a dream about wholesaling deals in Missouri? And what he was like, yeah. So he was like, well, I have an office. You guys can use the Mojo dialer. I have a bunch of lists. No, none of my agents here are calling them. Called expired listings. Pretty much. He had like the phone book. He was like, you were able to call neighborhoods. So we were just calling random people, and we ended up getting our first deal from expired listings. It was a $5,000 deal. Fast forward 6-7 months later, while we're still working at this office, we've done over $100,000 in deals, in wholesale fees, from being brand new, not knowing what we're doing, within a 6-7 month period. But what ended up happening, guys, is we got a little anxious, we got a little crazy, and we started spending a lot of money on marketing because we were like, let's amp this thing up. And if you guys remember a previous episode, I talked about we hired a cold calling squad. We personally hired friends from college because we're like, oh, we'll pay them 15 bucks an hour. They'll be really good. So we hired some cold callers. We sent out a ton of mail and we just started spending money. And deal flow started going down. And I know 100K might sound like a ton of money, everybody, but when you got marketing spend, you have to, me and Corey were splitting everything, the revenue, what we were making 50-50. It didn't go as long as it didn't go as far as you think it would go. And with 2 or 3 months of a dry spell of not getting deals and having to pay out the marketing, what ended up happening is we're getting low on that bank account. And while we were doing well, getting money, making deals happen, we had talked to the broker because, he letting us work in his office, and we had decided, hey, let's go in on this. Let's go on all the deals, 30-30-30. Let's do a partnership. I'm already with Corey. Let's add the broker in. Let's go 30-30-30. And we all thought we were going to take an equal load of everything. That's what I thought when I made the partnership. I was like, okay, everyone's going to do that. And that's the tough thing about partnerships is sometimes one person might not feel like the other guy's doing enough work when maybe they really are, or maybe they're not. It's a feeling you have. That's why you really have to trust who you're working with. And you got to have like, be on the same page and the same vision. So what it ended up happening is we partnered with the broker. He started getting 30% of the deals we were doing. And me and Corey were sitting back like, man, I feel like we're doing still all the work and he's still focusing on his brokerage. He's just kind of giving us some advice here and there and he's getting 30% of the deal. This is a bad deal we made to give away that much just for, someone to be involved in just asking them for advice to get 30% of the company. So we kind of felt like that for a while. And, what ended up happening is when we had the dry spell, when we had to fire our cold calling company, our cold callers, our friends, you know, we went to them and we were like, hey man, this isn't really working out. The count's kind of going down. We don't really think it's fair that we're splitting everything. And we just had an open and honest conversation. And we are just kind of letting him know we're like, we don't really think this partnership is working out. Like, we don't really feel like you're holding your end of the weight. Like we're knocking, we're doing all this stuff, we're cold calling, and you're not. I mean, you got a broker, that's fine, but you're getting 30% of everything. And he's like, look, guys, it's the expert. This is what he said when we were telling him open, honestly, that we didn't think it was working. He said, it's the expertise that I bring to the partnership. It's like the advice and it's the experience that I have. And I asked him, I said, your expertise is gotten us, unfortunately, in this hole where we haven't gotten a deal for several months and we've had to fire the cold calling company. Like, why didn't you kind of tell us, hey, we shouldn't spend that much money on marketing up front? Like, you shouldn't hire your friends at $15 an hour when you can hire VAs. And so I asked him those things because I was like, hey, that expertise could have saved us maybe some time or some money. Like, why didn't it? And this is what he said. He said, I needed you to learn for yourselves what not to do and what to do, what not to do and what to do. And I thought to myself at the time, I was like, well, what's the point of your expertise if you're going to let us fail and you're just going to have us blow this money or not have it work out? You're just going to let us fail to learn. What's the point? Then, because we could just learn by ourselves and not have to pay you 30% to fail and you'd be there and, make them part of the money. So anyway, he still was like, no, I bring a lot of value from just my knowledge. And we were like, no, man, we're grinding. And to give you that much, it just doesn't make sense. So they started kind of getting a feeling of like, and looking back, obviously we probably could have done a better job of explaining. But it just didn't make sense to have three partners in a wholesaling company when two guys are grinding and one guy just gives advice. That's what mentors are for. That's why we join coaching programs eventually later. So it just, the feeling wasn't there. Like the happiness, the joy we felt in the beginning, it just was, you could say it was awkward at that point. So we just told him, hey, we're going to leave. This isn't working out. And he's like, you could tell he was distraught, because we had brought him a deal. We've done several deals with him. Like, we had brought him some listings. We had done a deal where he ended up probably making about 150, 200,000. So I think he was upset because he probably felt like, giving us a space, but he also got a lot of deals and made some money off of us, which is great. Good for him. But we decided we just left. So we took our cubicles, we took our stuff, and we just left on a weekend, because it was the end of the weekend. We just took our stuff and we were gone. And I haven't heard from him since. I don't, he didn't reach out. Like we haven't reached out to. I've reached out to him within the last, year or two, and just said, hey, I was 27, I'm 32 right now. Hey, sorry if I didn't handle that the right way. Hope you're doing good. Never heard back from him. That unfortunately, that's how things happen. Maybe he doesn't like me. Who knows? But again, you live and you learn, and we tried to deal with it as good as possible, as clean of the cut. We cut that as much as we could. Like we, I'm just trying to say we tried to do the best we could at breaking the partnership. All right. And it wasn't like we signed any documents and it was an LLC that we created. It was more of like a verbal, and we were seeing how it went as it went on, and we didn't feel good about it as it went on. So that's what ended up happening. So as I reflect, that's the bittersweet talking about it. That happens. So guys, I want to give you some advice on partnerships. If you don't have the same vision, the alignment, the desire, the goals, you are going to come at a pass eventually. Your crossroads where you're like, hey, you're not doing enough, or you're not doing what you said you would do. I feel like I'm doing more work than you are. Like, you have to be on the same page. So make sure before you start a partnership, like I said, with the gift that I'm giving you in the newsletter, I'm going to give you a personality test. Make sure that your personalities complement each other. You don't want to have the same person, a visionary and a visionary, because then they need an integrator, right? You need a visionary integrator. You need to be able to complement each other's strengths and not just, but not butt heads, but just do the same thing. Cause unfortunately, that's what happens a lot in partnerships, is people just, they like each other and they both provide the same value, and it's just the business partnership doesn't end up working. And, I just wanted to say, hey, that's it. It works out like that. Sometimes it works out good. Sometimes it doesn't work out good, but you do your best to navigate these situations. And I'm giving you the advice that with partnerships, take a personality test, see if you complement each other. Now, if you ask Tom Kroll, one of my mentors, he'll say, never have a partner. It doesn't make sense. Don't do it. That's, a lot of high level entrepreneurs say, like, you don't need partnerships. You don't need like a 50-50 partner. That's like something that a lot of people do in the beginning. I think that's fine if you're in the beginning and you have that open, honest conversation with your business partner and say, hey, this might not last forever, but let's do it now because it's fun to be in business with your friends. That's essentially why I got into business with Corey, because it was fun to work together. Like, we were able to learn together and grow, but we're no longer business partners now, and we ended fine. It's not like he's mad at me. I'm not mad at him. That's just how things work out. Okay. Um, and I just want to recommend to everybody here that, I already said this, but take the assessment. I think it will help you not only with partnerships, but just to know how you navigate and how you work, and the best way to go about, your business. So yeah, that's what I just want to wrap up. This is a shorter one today, everybody, but I hope that story helped you understand that, in my experience, 6 months in, I had to already break a partnership up. It didn't end as well as it, probably could have if I navigated it better. And there were some hurt feelings. Some tears were probably shed, not on my part. Maybe the broker cried a little bit. I remember the day after we told him we were thinking about it. The next day we saw him, he was not looking too hot. He was looking like he had not slept a wink. And that's not probably because of us, but maybe it was. Maybe he was tossing and turning, couldn't sleep because he's like, oh man, these guys are leaving and they're making me a lot of dough. Who knows? Maybe he's just like couldn't sleep. Maybe his he had back pain. Who knows? But the next day when we went and talked to him, it seemed like he was pretty distraught about it. But sometimes you got to have the hard conversations. Again, going back to what my mentor Tom Kroll says, he says you got to have the tough conversations. If you're not willing to have the tough conversations with your partner, do you really have a partnership? Do you really have a good relationship? If you don't feel comfortable bringing up the uncomfortable things. And that's something I want you guys to all know. If you can't say things that make you feel uncomfortable to your partner, don't even think about getting a partnership. You gotta be able to have the conflict, the trust. You gotta be able to just get raw and dirty and say, hey, this is what I think's going on. You can't just hide your feelings. It's like a marriage. You gotta be honest. You gotta be true. You gotta tell the truth, or it's probably not gonna work out because you need truth. You can't lie. Lying doesn't ever work out. Yeah, because it builds up, and you'll always live. You'll feel like you're living a lie. Anyway, This is obviously live, so I see that there's some comments coming in. If you have any questions about partnerships or anything like that, type it in, and if I'll answer what I got in here, and if there's nothing that if there's nothing else coming in, we'll wrap it up. But hope you guys enjoyed Nathan Payne's wholesaling story time, Tales from the Trenches. I'm just getting started, guys. I've been in this business for like 5 years, and I've just gone over the first 6 months and highlighting some of the stories from the journal. There's a lot of stuff. Next week, I'm going to be talking about how I went to a condemned home to check out the condition of the property. I was driving for dollars, and I saw this homeless looking guy. No offense to him. He just looked homeless. And I told him what we were doing. He's like, yeah, I'm selling that house over there. And it was a condemned home that had been condemned. No one's supposed to live in it. He had climbed through the window, broken the boards on the window, and was living in it still with his girlfriend. And he actually was selling it that 2 days later to one of the wholesalers, just by chance, that I know in this, like back in the day in the market. They're still around. But and I was like, word, you've already signed? Can I, like, what if I can pay you more? I didn't know about, like, if someone signed, there'd be a notice of interest. And, I just thought maybe we could just beat it. So I was like, let me go take a look at the property. So he climbs in through the condemned window. He starts opening up like all these boards with the little drill he has. And he's like, come in and check out this house. And Corey's like, I'm not going in there, bro. And for me, like, I want to get a deal. So I was like, let me look at this house. Let me tell you something right now, and I'll tell you more on the next story. You don't need to go inside a condemned house that's boarded up to see the condition. It's condemned. All right. But I was dumb. I looked in, I saw like some of the crazy stuff I ever seen. I'll explain it next week. But that's what we're talking about with these stories. I was in the trenches, literally in the trench of a condemned home. I probably still got the video somewhere. I don't know what I was thinking, but stay tuned for next week. So I'll bust that. But let me see what we got over here on the comments. Let's see. Uh, oh yeah. It says you upgraded to LaCroix. I did upgrade to LaCroix. This is a good one. This is the Guava Sao Paulo. Oof, that's tasty. If you haven't tried LaCroix or any sparkling water, you're missing out on life. It's better than soda. That should be a commercial. All right. Let's see here. So right here, the CEO says, that's a good lesson, bro. For me, thanks. Yes, man, avoid partnerships if you can. They're not necessary unless, like I said, they complement each other. And I know a lot of people, I get them because I like working with partners. That's just how I am. I like working with people. But if you can avoid it, it's not necessarily necessary. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Let's get beginner absolute best friends. What happened with the better friend? Oh, okay. Someone says, the CEO, shout out to the CEO. What happened with you and your better friend, Corey? So Corey, when the interest rates went up in the United States because of the pandemic, our wholesaling business went again through, it's always gone up and down, up and down. That's the business. But, we had a lot of flips going, and like we lost some money. And he was like, bro, forget this. I'm not interested in doing this anymore. And I was like, all right, well, I'm still going to do it. And, I think it's a great way to make money, great business. So I stayed in it, and he bounced. He's doing epoxy floors. He started a business doing epoxy floors. So we parted fine. There was no problem, but he decided he didn't want to do the business. And I was like, now I'm going to keep going because, I like this industry, and it's what I want to do. So that's what happened. Nothing bad happened with Corey. Just, pandemic happened. Interest rates went up. Flips didn't go as well. We kept wholesaling, but he wasn't really interested in continuing. So I continued, and that's the name of the game. All right, everybody. I don't see any more questions coming through here on the live. Again, if you're watching this, like wherever you're watching so this can get in front of more people. I appreciate you. And again, my goal is to help you all succeed. That's exactly why I'm doing this. Like, I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. The painlessflipping.com, absolutely free to get the resources I'm talking about. I just think it's fun to tell you guys what the wholesaling business for me was like, what it's really like. So go ahead, check it out. I got my wife calling me. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Period. Peace. Wait, I got a serious question. Man, you might have to save it for the next one because my wife's calling me. I gotta go. See you later, CEO. Peace.
Hello.